Hi gang, this is a video. I wanted to go into some detail about where we're going to go this summer with Stalking the Wild Auto Harp. First of all, I wanted to reassure you that it's not all going to be about comparing picks. I've been on a pick kick for the past, like a month. And that's going to go on for a while because there's a lot of picks and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback about people wanting to hear the difference between these picks and hear me try them out. And surprise, surprise, they want to know what I think about them. I'm not in the habit of being opinionated or sharing, my findings because it's a highly personal thing. However, in the interest of being controversial, in the interest of being interesting or being opinionated, I'm going to be sharing my opinions about these picks and what I personally think about them. So stay tuned on that series. But that's not all that's going to be going on. I've got, right here in my hand, I've got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to tell you about today. And so that's going to get us through a while, but intermittently with the pick videos too. So here's a little list of things that are coming up. First of all, we're going to have a video about auto harp inadequacy syndrome, which is, when you kind of like cringe and say, oh, I play the auto harp, when you're around other musicians, maybe real musicians, and maybe want to jam with them or make some music with them, but you feel like they kind of feel like the auto harp's not really valid, or and it's partly their ignorance, or something like that. So what can you do to impress them with your playing? What can you do to step into the world of being a musician instead of just sitting in the back and pushing buttons? Okay, so auto harp inadequacy syndrome, we've all experienced it. Then we're going to talk about less is more. I've got a video already on less is more, but I've come across this new realization in my teaching, and that is what I call the spiral of learning. And that is that you go around in a circle and you kind of come back to the same points again and again, but each time you're a little bit further more advanced, your circle is bigger, your understanding is bigger, and so we come around and we touch on some of the same subjects but with different words and more information, and we understand a little bit better through the repetition. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna touch on that a little bit again, and I'm gonna show some examples of using less instead of using more. And this is something that I'm teaching myself through listening to myself. And I'll tell you more about that in that video. Okay? Then we're going to talk about how to shim. Shimming involves taking your chord bars and lowering the action so that the felts come closer to the strings and you don't have to push down on them very hard at all or very far. And this saves you muscle energy, and it gets you going faster. So we're going to talking about shimming down felts or shimming your chord bars up if they're too close to the strings. So we're going to talk about that in a video. We're going to talk about how to play Carter scratch. This is something that the various components of which I've touched on in earlier videos. We're going to go back, spiral of learning. We're going to revisit Carter scratch, how to play it, how to apply it in a few different songs, how to do it with one finger, how to do it with all your fingers, and then how to mix it with melody and playing the melody with your thumb. So we'll be also revisiting thumb lead, drilling down into thumb lead and really getting into the various components of thumb lead, where you play melody with your thumb, where you play melody with your thumb alternating with a finger to get it going faster, where you play melody with your thumb going back and forth really fast like a mandolin. Okay? Thumb lead is something that everybody should do because it's cool. Not everybody does it. and it will give you the edge of volume. Your leads will pop out because they'll be nice and loud. Okay, so we're going to revisit playing some thumb lead. We're going to talk about being in the zone, a video about what is the zone, how do you find it, how do you get into the zone, and what happens when you're in the zone that doesn't happen when you're not in the zone. So how do you get there? What happens? How do you know when you're in the zone? And how do you stay in the zone once you are there? Okay? So we're going to talk about that if we can. How do you teach something like that? All right? We're going to talk about, here's a good one, a couple of videos. Why is music theory so confusing? I've been teaching a lot of music theory to my students, and we're going to talk about, what is it that is so confusing, and we're going to clarify those most confusing elements. And this is going to take maybe a couple of videos to do, maybe even 3, but we're going to clear up some basic things about theory. We're also going to do one on 1, 4, and 5. What does that mean? And why is it so prevalent? And talk about how we pull melody out of those. And that's very basic music theory, but people don't get it. Circle of spiral of learning. It's something I've touched on before in my theory videos, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more, and maybe some lights will go on, this time. 1, 4, and 5, and clearing up that, drilling down into thumb lead, and finally, and I've never done this one before, and when I realized that, I was like, what? Really? Never done this? Pinching. I've never done a video about pinching, and we're going to talk about pinching and why pinching isn't really pinching. And so there is a number of up-and-coming Stalking the Wild auto harps for you that we're going to be touching on this summer and probably on into fall. We're going to intermingle those with the pick comparison videos that'll go on for a while, because I've got a bunch of picks here, more on the way, and we're going to talk about all of them. Okay, so stay tuned to Stalking the Wild Auto Harp. If you're not a patron yet, please consider becoming a patron and supporting this programming, because it helps keep me going and keep doing what I love, which is giving these lessons out for free. All right, and when you become a patron, you can get discounts on lessons. If you want to take webcam lessons with me, you can get free lessons. If you want to get free lessons, you can get access to special members-only videos about, me playing songs, me rehearsing songs, me outtakes, bloopers, me giving thoughts about, should I do this, should I not do this, and various other things, videos and audio, and special presentations of performances that I have done and am going to be doing, and things like that. So there's all kinds of perks that you can get for becoming a patron, and remember that you can always take one-on-one lessons with me. I'm Hal Weeks. Thanks for your indulgence, because I know I didn't teach any auto harp today, and I didn't play any auto harp today, but my auto harp's sitting there listening. And thanks for you sitting there listening. I'm Hal Weeks, and we'll see you around on Stalking the Wild Auto Harp. Bye-bye.